Hi everyone, it is Gina K from Gina K Designs and welcome to Stampin' Chat. I'm so excited to see all of you, so many of you here from all over the world. Welcome to tonight's program. So tonight we're going to be playing a little bit with the Wreath Builder, and we're actually going to be playing with the new Wreath Builder templates. And we're going to be making a couple of Christmas cards tonight. So once again, welcome everyone. I do have a topic tonight to talk about. And our topic tonight is about social boundaries. Now, I know a lot of you are on Facebook, and there is quite a lot of conversation going on Facebook lately. I made the mistake of getting involved in a conversation that I really thought that I could make a difference in, but that did not happen. And I realized that, you know, people have their views and their belief systems of what's happening in the world, and they see it from their lens, and they post about it. And then people from the opposite side post on their thread, and sometimes it gets really heated. So I saw this one thread. I don't even know what side anybody was on, but I just kind of swooped in and thought I was going to be really cool. And I was going to say, you know what? This isn't a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's a human issue. That didn't go over very well. So I thought about social boundaries and what was I actually doing? Like, why was I getting involved in that conversation? And I realized that lack of social boundaries invites lack of respect. So sometimes, you know, there's so much arguing on the internet, but it's really hard to argue with yourself. So I'm learning that not getting involved is a much better plan for me and for my mental health. And I don't know about you guys, but maybe you feel the same way. You know, whatever you're putting up with, it's exactly what you're going to get, right? So we have to have some social boundaries for ourselves, especially on the internet. You know, we can say what we need to say by gently speaking what's on our mind, without judgment, without any kind of tactless blaming or being cruel. But then, you know, we should expect the same thing from other people. And if we don't get that kind of respect, we have to remember that no is a complete sentence. I'm done. So I guess tonight we're just going to, you know, we're going to put all the internet arguing aside and we're going to have some fun. Just remember to know who you are, know what you believe, know what you like, and allow others that same courtesy. And if you feel like you want to get involved, make a card. That's what I'm going to do from now on. Make a card. So tonight, I do have an end quote that is not exactly maybe a social media, social boundary kind of quote, but it is a good quote to think about and to maybe ponder over a bit. So tonight we're going to use the Wreath Builder, and as many of you know, we came out with a new improved Wreath Builder template system. So the difference between the original Wreath Builder and the new one is now the new one has these inside stars. Now, a few of you have asked, can I just buy the inside stars? Well, we could have done that, but the problem is that the way these are manufactured, you see this? It takes this entire piece of plastic to cut this star out. So the price would have been the same to just purchase the stars as it would be to purchase both sets. So we just made a new and improved Wreath Builder template set with the stars, and it didn't seem worth it to just throw away this piece because the price wouldn't have been any different. Now you have some extra ones of these if you already have our original Wreath Builder. These stars fit in the original Wreath Builder templates, but you know, having the extra outside template pieces really doesn't cost that much more. What costs us more, and the reason why these templates are a little bit more expensive, is the etching. And if you can see that, this has all kinds of etched guidelines and grid lines on it. And I'm going to show you how to use some of those tonight while making a couple of holiday wreath cards. Now, I've been kind of perusing the questions a little bit here, and I saw that some of you were saying, which wreath builder template should I get? And why do I have a hot mess when I try to make a wreath? And why are my images going off my cardstock? And I have answers to all of those questions. So if you're brand new to the Wreath Builder, I would recommend getting the brand new and improved Wreath Builder templates first. They are a really great one to start with because they're going to be the ones that you're going to use for most of your A2 size cards. And that's what most of us make, is an A2 sized card or something similar but in a square version. So it's going to be the best option to start with. Then once you get the hang of wreath building, you can always pick up the mini ones so that you can make little tiny wreaths. You can make tags and things with it. And you can pick up the mega one where you can do home decor pieces as well. So let me go to the overhead camera here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about these templates. So, okay, so you get 2 different templates in this pack. Now, the new templates are marked, so you can see this is the 3.75 inch template. I know it's hard to read here on this screen, but when you see them in person, you'll be able to read them. So this is the 3 3/4 inch template set, and this is the 4 inch template set. So this one is going to give you bigger wreaths. This one's going to give you a little bit smaller wreaths, but both of them work really well. If you have a friend that you're stamping with or in your family that you're social isolating with and you want to get them to learn how to build wreaths, give them either one of these and they'll be able to make beautiful A2 size cards. Now, one of the things that's important when you're using the Wreath Builder for the first time is you want to slip it into either the top corner or the bottom corner of your Misti stamping tool. And you want to make sure, if you're deciding which Misti to use for this, you can use either the original Misti, which is the one that I have here. This is the one that's 6 inches by, it's like 8 or 9 inches long. So it's kind of like 7 by 9. That's the original Misti. This works great in that. It will also work great in the memory Misti, which is the real big Misti. And if you get that one, our memory, our mega Wreath Builder templates will fit in that one as well. Unfortunately, these do not work in the tiny one, in the little mini Misti. But if you already have the mini Misti, hold on to it, because especially during the holidays, it is great to have that Misti, to have all your greetings lined up. So you can make your wreaths with one Misti, and then you can stamp your greetings for your cards with the mini one. So there's never a time where more than one Misti is a problem. If you have another stamping platform in your collection, these will work in that as well. I know that we have friends coming in from all over the world, and there are some different things available outside of the USA. Okay, so one thing that I highly recommend, and you may have seen this in my last video, is I use the Misti Mouse Pad, and that is this. I like using this because you can clean it really easily. You don't have to use a lot of grid paper because this just wipes off. It feels just like a mouse pad, and it's called the Misti Mouse Pad. But when I do wreath building, I flip it over so that I have the black side showing. And that's because it's a lot easier to see my cardstock through the template when it's on black. And then you might have seen that I had purple tape under here. One of the reasons why the Misti sometimes doesn't work isn't because the Misti doesn't work, it's because the mat shifts. So if you put a couple little pieces of purple tape under there and tape your mat down, and you can do that with the regular black mat that comes with it, or the mouse pad if you purchase that one separately, then you don't have to worry, this is not going to shift at all. Then you want to do the same thing with your templates. So you want to put them into the corner of the Misti, and then you want to tape those down as well. So I'm going to tape these down with, let me move that. I don't like where that is. I'm going to tape this down with some purple tape. You can use any kind of washi tape, whatever you have that's not going to leave residue on your Misti. And then now the mat is not going to move, and the templates are not going to move. And you can use extra tape. I had the Sweetest Customer. I just have to tell you the story. I had the Sweetest Customer put an order in, and she said, throw in a roll of purple tape because I'm really worried about you. I'm happy to pay for it. I'm worried about you because this is all the purple tape I had left, and I had mentioned it. It was so kind and so sweet. I did not do that. I didn't charge her for my purple tape. But I thought it was just the sweetest, kindest gesture. And that's what's awesome about you guys, is how kind you are and all your sweet notes that you write on the orders that you send in. I try to respond to every one of them too. Okay, so now I have my Misti in place on, where'd my solo go here? Let's see if we can get this. There we go. Okay. So now I have my template into my Misti here. And yeah, I'm going to just glance through the questions to see if I miss anything. Nope, I think it's good. Okay. So I always use, I know a lot of people say to me that I use my Misti the wrong way, that you're supposed to use it this way, right? So that the rulers are the right side, but I'm not comfortable that way. So I always use it backwards, and it's because I feel like it should open like a book. So that's the way I use it. And I barely use the rulers, but if I need them, I can still see what an inch is on here, even if it's upside down. So forgive me if my Misti is upside down, but I really like it that way. Okay, so then one of the things that you do want to remember is when you're building a wreath, you always want to start in the square position. Now, when you load your stamp on there, the reason why I say the square position is because here's the Holiday Wreath Builder. I'm going to be using this one tonight. If you load a stamp on there, I'll just take this stamp. Let me clean it. Boy, don't think I've cleaned these stamps since probably last Christmas. I know that's bad. But if you have your cardstock in the diamond position and you put your stamp down like that, then when you turn it to the square position, it's going to be off the cardstock. Now, one thing that the new templates are going to help you with is you can see now when you place that on top, you'll be able to see the biggest circle, the biggest wreath that you can make that will still stay inside this piece of cardstock. So as long as you place your cardstock, and let me see if I can show you this with something else behind it. Let's see if a piece of cardstock like this helps you see it better. As long as you place your image inside that largest circle, your image is going to stay inside the cardstock. If it's outside of that circle, then when that cardstock turns, it's going to be off the cardstock. So the circles on here really determine how big your wreath is going to be. You can see based on where you place it, whether you have a tiny wreath or you have a really big wreath. And I'm going to do a really big wreath. So I'm going to put this one close to the edge, and I can tell that it's going to be just fine because it's inside that circle. And then I'm going to pick up the stamp, and then I'm going to pull off this template. So now my stamp is in the right position. So that's a really good update for the Wreath Builder, having those circles there so you can determine how big or small you want your wreath to be based on which of the lines on the template that you choose to put your stamps on. So I'm going to start with some, let's see, I'm going to start with some fresh asparagus ink. And I am going to stamp this all the way around. So there's my first impression. Now I'm going to turn it to the diamond orientation. That's the next position in the Wreath Builder. And I'm going to keep going around until I've done all 8 images. Now I want to show you something else that you can use this new insert for, the new star piece. You can test an image beforehand, which I really, really like. In the past, you would lay your clear stamp down and you would say, yeah, that looks like it's going to look good, but I really wonder what it's going to look like once I stamp it. So I'm going to show you how to do that next. So you can see I'm just turning and stamping, turning and stamping. A little bit more. Okay. One more. All right, so now I'm going to put that back in the square orientation again. And then I'm going to clean that using my tidy towel. It's really nice to have a tidy towel when you're cleaning these stamps, because if you wanted to stamp this in another color, let's say you hadn't done them all in green and you wanted to do half in light green and half in dark green, it's nice to be able to clean that stamp while it's still on the Misti. So now I'm going to use this little holly leaf and I'm going to put it right about there. But I want to see what this looks like before I actually stamp it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the star back inside, and then I'm going to stamp that with some jelly bean green, and I'm going to stamp it. And I want to see, do I like the position that that's in? Maybe I want to slide it in a little bit more. So if I want to slide it in a little bit more, I can reposition it to where I think it might look a little better. Maybe I want it right there, just in a little bit more. It was kind of hanging out too much. Now I can pick it up again and I can test it again. Make sure that I really like where it is before I commit. So I'm going to go back with jelly bean green again and just see, do I like it where it is now? Yeah, I think I like it better there. It's more inside. So now I can take the template off and I can clean it with my tidy towel. Make sure the cardstock is back in position. And now I can stamp that. I already got a visual of what that's going to look like. So I hope that made sense. So let me stamp these all the way around. I think I over inked that one a little bit, but that's all right. I'll keep going all the way around. See, I like it down in there a little bit more, and I wouldn't have known that it was going to be where it was, but that little bit of repositioning really helped me, and being able to see it stamped in color really made a difference for me. Okay. So we're almost done this turn. I'm going to show you another fun little trick here that you might like, especially when it comes to making holiday cards, because a lot of times we pick a holiday card idea and we think, okay, I want to mass produce that. But maybe you think, oh, I don't want to stamp, 3 times going all the way around. So I'll show you a little trick right when I'm done with my next image. Now, one of the questions that I saw you guys ask is, why do my wreaths sometimes look like a hot mess? And I think the main reason that my wreaths look like a hot mess when they do is because I just try to do too many images. I think less is more when it comes to wreath building. So if you can just limit it to maybe 3 images, I think you're going to get the best possible results. Now, this one I really don't have to check because I really just wanted it to kind of come off of that holly leaf. Okay, so I'm going to use red velvet for this, and I'm going to stamp this all the way around. Let's do that again. Okay. I'm barely touching it to the Misti too. One thing that I noticed that sometimes people press a little bit too hard and it squishes out the design. I did that on this one, and you can see it loses a little bit of the detail. So you really don't have to press hard. You just have to kind of tap on it. You can always go back and stamp it again. And you can also see I'm not using the magnet. If this was a brand new set of stamps, I would probably use the magnet, because new clear stamps really pull on the paper. And then as they get more weathered and more seasoned and more used, they're not quite as sticky when it comes to pulling the paper up. So if this was brand new, I would just throw my magnet up in the corner like that, and that would just hold it into place. But I really don't need it tonight. Okay, and my last image. Now, let me show you some little magic here. Okay, I'm gonna leave these berries right where they are on the Misti, okay? Now, I'm going to put this back into, actually, I'm not gonna leave the berries there. I'm gonna take the berries off and I'm gonna place them back over the berries that are already there. Okay. It looks straight down, so I got to get around my camera here. Okay, then I'm going to find that first image, and I'm going to place that right over an image on the far side of my wreath, like that. And then I'm going to find the holly leaf, and I'm going to put the holly leaf right over one of these images here. Okay. So now I've positioned all three images back onto my wreath where I know that they're going to look good, right? So now I'm going to pick these all up at once on my Misti, and you can see I've spread them out pretty far apart. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to have fresh asparagus open. Let me open this one. I'm going to have red velvet open. And I'm going to have jelly bean green open. Now I'm going to put in a brand new piece of cardstock, and I'm going to ink up my holly leaf with the jelly bean, my pine needles with the fresh asparagus, and my berries with the red, and I'm going to stamp all three of them. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it to the next position. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to ink up my holly leaf with jelly bean. The thing you have to do is remember what color you used on what image, but that's not too hard to do. And I'm going to stamp them again. And because there's three of them, they are sticking a little bit, but I still don't want to use the magnet. All right, holly leaves, not holly leaves, berries. This is fresh asparagus for the pine needles. And then jelly bean for the holly leaf. And then I'm going to do this. So really, I'm going to be able to stamp all three of those images with just 8 turns. I just want to make sure I use the right one. And if you do them the same way every time, which I didn't do one of those times, then you probably won't forget. But now you can start to see things are starting to intermingle a little bit. Fresh asparagus and jelly bean. And it looks really weird until it's done, and then it looks really good. And this is just the fast way to mass produce a wreath once you've figured out the design that you want. And if you figured out a design that you really like, then save it as your template. And you can just keep making that one over and over again. You don't have to remember what you did and how you laid everything out. Just pop that one into the wreath builder, position your images, and you'll be ready to stamp. You can see it's coming together. Fresh asparagus. And, whoop, I just hit that jelly bean, that fresh asparagus one. There we go. So there's my finished wreath. So I did that whole wreath in just 8 turns, and I got all of the images stamped all in different colors. Isn't that fun and quick and easy? So now I can keep this wreath as my template so that I can replicate it whenever I want, and then I can work with this one. So I hope that made sense to everyone what I did. It's kind of a little fun technique. And you know, what's really fun to do with this is to do that same technique in just 8 turns using Versamark, and then do the whole wreath in gold or silver. And it's absolutely beautiful. And you only have to emboss it once because you're only going around 8 times, and the Versamark will stay wet long enough that you can do it all at one time rather than going around, let's see, 8 times 3 is 24 times. So, okay. So now let's see, what else can I show you with this template? Okay. So one thing I wanted to show you is, let me just put this aside. We'll complete this card later. I want to show you something else fun. So now I'm going to get the template back in here again, and I want to stamp a wreath on a cutout circle. So we have these dies, and I'm going to show you these, but they don't look like this anymore. These were dies that I designed for ThermoWeb. They're the double stitched circles and the single stitched circles. Now they're silver because ThermoWeb discontinued my design, so I picked it up for my line. So these same exact dies now come in silver. So if you already have the gold ones, you already have them. Don't buy them again in silver. But these circles coordinate with these templates, and I'll show you what I mean. So if you wanted to do a wreath, let's say, that would fit perfectly on this cutout double stitch circle, you just find the matching circle on the template. And you can do that. All right, let me show you what I've been doing. I have this little Tim Holtz craft knife, and I just find that it's easier to pick up the template with that when I want to turn it. Okay, so you can see that fits perfectly on that circle in the template. We have other sizes that fit. If it doesn't fit on this one, oh, it does. Look at that. There we go. And then the real big one also might fit on this template, but I know that it was one or the other. Yep, so you can go to any 3 sizes of these circles, and you're going to be able to stamp a wreath perfectly centered onto this. So I'm going to use this size because I'm going to make a different kind of card with this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the Gina K Designs adhesive. Oh, I should probably take the lid off. And I'm going to adhere that right onto my template. And I want to make sure that it is right inside that circle. There we go. All right, I'm going to just put a little pressure on that. And now I'm going to put the star inside the template. So now this is a way that I can stamp on this circle and make a wreath, and it's going to be perfectly centered inside this circle. Believe it or not, it's easier to do it this way than to just cut a wreath out or just to design a wreath and then try to cut it out, because your circle isn't going to be perfect, but this will make it perfect. So I'm going to do that same little layout. I might do it a little bit differently this time. Maybe I'll have them all connect. So that's easy to do. You can almost have them all connect by just putting it right up next to that double stitched line and then pick it up. Okay. So I'm going to stamp this one all in jelly bean green. Move my knife out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to take my little craft knife. You can also use tweezers or whatever else you want. And I'm just going to turn the star into the next position. See how they're all going to line up? And then I can put sequins in between there as little spacers, little red sequins or something like that, which will look really cute. So if you press on one end, it will pop up a little bit and you don't have to use a knife. You can also use tweezers or something else like that, but I don't have nails anymore. All of my nails are gone from packing orders and opening boxes. So excuse all of the cuts all over my hands from opening boxes. It's been a little crazy. All right, so if you have trouble, you can just grab it and turn it. But this is fun. I mean, like, it's just a kind of a fun way to create a wreath inside a circle. And you can do it inside any shape you want, really. If you wanted to do it in a square, you just have to make sure that you use the lines going across to kind of line it up in a square. So you could put a round, you know, a circular wreath inside a square die cut piece. All right, here's the last one. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp a greeting in the middle of that, and I'm going to turn that into a kind of a focal image for my card. So let me pick a greeting. I think I'm going to use joy to, no, I'm going to use, should I use joy to the world? Or should I use Merry Christmas to you? I'm going to use Merry Christmas to you. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that that is fairly straight up and down. It is a circle, so I can turn it a little bit, but that looks pretty good. Okay. So now I'm going to, see, I never trust myself, and then I shift it. Make sure that's right in that same spot. Now I'm going to use some black ink. Got a little black onyx ink cube here, and I'm going to stamp my greeting. I'm going to use my sleeve to put that pressure on it. There we go. So now I can use that as my focal image for my card, and I think I will put some sequins in there and make my own little pattern paper here for you. I'm really sorry that I didn't think of this when I initially thought of the Wreath Builder. I know that that's frustrating if you already have the other templates, but in the big picture, I mean, if you think about, you know, other things that you have in your collection, you know how much you've used your Wreath Builder, or maybe you haven't and you want to get started. Wreath building, you're going to make them over and over and over again. So, okay, so I'm going to take this out of here. Now, if you get some residue on your template, you can use a little stamp cleaner or a little bit of alcohol or something like that, and it will clean it right off the template, but nothing really stuck on there. Now, I did show you these dies, and the one thing that I wanted to tell you about them, just like our other shape dies, these were designed to fit the same image. So if you wanted to use a single stitched circle, white circle, it would be pretty darn close to the same size. But the one thing that I did when I designed these was I made sure that my double stitch circles, that my single stitched ones were 1/8 of an inch bigger than the double stitched ones. This way, if you had both, you could use either the double stitched or the single stitched, but if you wanted to use them together, you would get this cute little shadow layer. So let me get this out of the way so you can see what I'm talking about. So in other words, you get that 1/8 of an inch border that you guys know I'm just bananas about. I love that thin little border. So that's what I did. This way, these dies do double duty. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more tape on there, and then I'm going to adhere that together to give me that little shadow edge. And there's my little wreath, and I'm going to put some sequins right in between there where they're connected to separate those out. Yes, this would make a great tag. That is a great idea. Thank you so much for that idea. I don't know where your comment just zipped by, but that is an excellent idea. Yes, it would make a great tag. You could also you could mount 2 of them together and make a little Christmas ornament to hang on the tree. You could cut the centers out and add a photo in there. There's so many fun things that you can do with the Wreath Builder. Okay, so let me go back to my original wreath here. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a frame inside this one. So I'm going to use this frame. Looks pretty good. Now I could stamp it first and then try to line it up, but I'm just going to take a shot here. And if it's not perfect, we'll just shift it around so it looks close enough. How's that? You all in on that with me? Okay. I think I'm going to go up there a little bit more. It's really hard to see unless you're like right over it. And I'm kind of leaning back a bit because of the camera. So this is going to be close enough for jazz. All right, now I'm going to make that fresh asparagus to go with my darkest green. So let me go ahead and get that in there. And you know, all of the Wreath Builder stamp sets, the frames and the greetings are interchangeable. So if you like this frame, but you want to use one of the greetings from the original Wreath Builder, you certainly can. So I like that frame in there. I think that that's very festive looking, but it's also kind of a masculine frame. It has a little bit of a rope look to it. So you could definitely make a leaf wreath out of it. So it's a little bit more masculine. All right, and then I'm going to use the greeting "Joy to the World" in here. And I'm going to do that in black onyx. Let me close up this knife because I almost stabbed myself 6 times already, which I probably wouldn't even feel it at this point. My hands are getting rough. Okay. And I'm going to use some black onyx for this. And this is just going to be a cute little square card. And the other one I'm going to make into an A2 card. Okay, get my sleeve. There we go. Joy to the world. Oh, I like it. I like it. Okay, so this is going to get mounted onto a black piece. So let me clean my stamp and move my Misti for now. Let me see what time it is. Oh, plenty of time. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to adhere these 2 panels together. I'll get back into the scene. Sometimes I can get 3 cards in, but I don't know about tonight. I don't think so. Okay. So now I think I'm going to add a little sequin in there, maybe a couple in different spots. Or maybe just like one there and one there. I think I'll do that. So I'm going to use some disco ball sequins. And I know you guys have been waiting for these sequins to come back in stock. But honestly, I don't know when things are coming back in stock right now. We are trying to get things, but all different states have different opening times. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'll put one down there. Okay. So I'm going to use my Marvy jewel picker, and I'm going to put 1 sequin there and 1 there. There we go. I feel like it needs 3. I know you guys do too, but I don't know where to put it. I could squeeze it in over here. Let me just lay there and see how it looks. Do you guys like that? I feel like it needs that 3rd one. I'm going to add it. I know it's kind of close to the side there, but I still feel better about 3 than 2. Can you imagine the person getting this card? Do you think that they really would care if there were 3 sequins or 2? But we hem and haw over that kind of stuff all the time, don't we? Because we're card makers and we're nuts. All right, so now I'm going to put that on a red card base. And that'll be a cute little square card. I might just hold on to that one for a gift card and use that during Christmas when I pick up some gift cards. Okay, so let me try not to smash the sequins. Probably should put those on at the end, but they hung in there. That Connect glue is very sticky. Okay, so there's my little square holiday card. That's fun. I like it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to take a picture of this and post it over on Facebook a little bit later. So now I'm going to take a piece of cardstock here, a white piece, and I'm going to just randomly, actually, I'm going to trim this down. So let me see here. This started at 3 3/4 of an inch by 5. I'm going to cut it down to 2 1/4 inches by 5. And then I have a black piece that I'm going to cut 2 5/8 of an inch. Is that what I did? 2? That's going to be way too wrong. This is 2 1/4, so I'm going to go 2 3/8 of an inch. That's going to be way too wrong. Okay, that should do it. Let's see. Is that even close? That still doesn't look right. No! How big did I make this? Okay. 2 1/4. So you want to go 2 3/8. Oh, that's 3/8. I can feel you guys screaming at me through the computer. Okay. So that will work. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Okay. I like it. Still feels a little crooked. Somebody told me in our forum that they almost threw their paper cutter away because it wasn't cutting straight. And it actually turned out that the handle, the screw, because the handle being loose, not because of anything else. I might just cut a hair off of this. Do you guys do this? You cut a little bit, then you cut a little bit more, then you cut a little bit more. It's like having like bangs that are uneven and you keep cutting them and then they're too short. Oh no, I dropped it. Okay, that'll do it. That'll look good. Yeah, that'll be fine. All right, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to make my own background paper out of this little piece here. And I need an acrylic block. So I'll grab a couple blocks here. And I'm going to use some different ones. I'm not going to use the same exact images. Let's see, what do I have here? I'm going to use this one, which you're going to know I've used this with red before. But I'm going to use it with red. And then because I'm hand stamping and not using the Misti, I'm just going to use a big ink pad because it's going to be easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to start right in the middle, and then I'm just going to turn as I go. I'm going to turn it upside down here. And one up here and one down here. So you can see I did kind of it's almost like a Z, and then it just keeps going like zigzag all the way down. And that'll make it look a little bit more even though I don't want it to be super even, but I don't want it to be, I want it to feel like it fills out the whole thing. So my next color is going to be jelly bean green. And I will stamp the pine needles with that. And those I will stamp in between. Just turning it as I go to make it as random as possible, but still filling it in so I've got even color going up through the piece. And always when you're making your own pattern paper, make sure you stamp off the edges. Don't try to fit it all into that little box. And then I feel like I need one more color. I should probably stick with the fresh asparagus. And I think I will use this tiny little star. It looks like a little, kind of a little flower. It kind of mimics a tiny poinsettia, but I'm going to do this just because I think it's nice and tiny and just adds a little bit of something. I like it. Now you can do this all over big pieces of paper too, and then just trim them down where you want them. One there, one over here, down there. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Think that's all right? Oh gosh, I almost shot that stamp right off of the block. When they're little like that, you have to be careful because when you rub them with the tidy towel, they shoot right off, and try to dab them a little bit more so you don't end up having to crawl around on your floor later. Okay, so now I'm going to mount these two pieces together using a little bit of the adhesive dot runner. Let's see if I can get this straight. Oh, it looks pretty straight. I might cut off a little bit at the bottom, just, you know, to make myself a nervous wreck. And when I say a hair, I mean a hair. It's going to look like a hair. But I just feel like it needs a little bit off. There it is. Look at that. Look like a hair. Okay. Again, that makes all the difference, right? So I'm going to use a fresh asparagus, a jelly bean green card base, and I'm going to put that down on that side. So this will just go down the one side. You know, it'd be cute, would be a little gingham ribbon on there. Should I do that? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Let me grab my gingham ribbon. Don't go away. Okay, here's my gingham ribbon. This is by ThermoWeb. And I want to get my pair of good scissors here. I'll use these Tim Holtz scissors tonight. I'm just going to cut it a little bit bigger than my panel. And it's always good if you have a little blotch somewhere, like if you have a smear, a little piece of ribbon right around the belly of a little strip like this. Just find wherever your smudge is or whatever you're trying to hide and just stick it on there, and it'll just look like a cute little accent. It's my smudge tip of the day. Okay. All right, and then I will straighten it out and fold it around there. Then I always like to add a little bit of tape over the ribbon just so that it doesn't pop out. And then I will put that right, flip this over here, put that right down the one side. Okay, there we go. I don't know why, I felt like it needed that. And then this is going to go right here. I can put it up higher too. I think I'll put it up a little higher like that. All right, so I might use some foam tape for this. Pop it up. You can use foam squares too. Let me find my gluey scissors. Do you guys have gluey scissors? I have like nice scissors that I use for cutting ribbon and cutting paper. And then these I've used so much for cutting foam squares and tape. And so these are now my gluey ones. I'm just going to do that and pull the backings off. Yeah, I got rid of all my nails, as you can see, and now I have no nails to get under there. I think I could just use my scissors, though, to do it. Okay. So now I'm going to put that right here. I'll just kind of have it resting onto the ribbon, like here. I feel like I should maybe do it here. I'm going to do it here. So it's down. No, I'm going to do it here. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I want to do. Do it down here. Okay. Now I want to add some little sequins around this wreath. So let's get these are the ruby slippers. I like this color, and I don't use the red ones and the green ones enough. I guess because I haven't, I just started over the last few weeks thinking about Christmas. And I tend to use the clear ones because they pick up color, but I really want these to show up. So I'm going to put dots of glue in between, and I'm going to use that as my marking so I know how to place them evenly. It's where the top of the one green and the bottom of the other one come together. And you can see it because it's a little thicker, a little darker maybe, but that'll keep them all nicely spaced. I'm doing the glue first, so it starts to get a little bit tacky and it makes it easier for the sequins to stick on there. So we'll just put one here, and here, go right around the wreath. Now this glue goes on white, but it dries clear, so if it does kind of seep in the hole of the sequin, it won't stay there. It'll just turn clear when it dries, so you won't see that. And these are flat sequins, but then they're just curved just at the very tippy top. So you get that sparkle, but they're a lot easier to put in an envelope. They're not too cupped. So you really do have to make sure that they're the right way before you pop them onto your card. And one more. That looks good. Okay. So there's my little wreath. I could add some more sequins into the mix on the pattern paper, but I think I like them to kind of make this like the focal image. So there's my second card. And there were a few fun little tips on how to use the new Improved Wreath Builder Templates. Definitely worth the investment. I think they're still available. They should be. If not, we probably have more because I think we had only put 1,000 in stock, but I think we got a few extras. So I will check that later tonight and make sure that we've got some of those in stock. And once your sequins kind of start to set, you can kind of flatten them out a little bit if they're kind of bent one way or the other. And they won't come off the card as easily. Okay. All right. So where's my other card? Did I lose that already? Oh no, here it is. Here's my first card, Joy to the World, and here is my second card, Merry Christmas to You. Oh, look at the disaster around here. That's not staged very well. Okay, and I'm just checking through here to see if you guys have any questions or anything. I hope that this was an informative video for you. I hope that you learned a lot of cool little tips and tricks. So once again, there's the little square card, and here's my little pattern paper card. These wreath builder images in any of our wreath builder sets really do make fun pattern papers too. So if you don't feel like wreath building, there's still great stamps for that. But they really are a nice size to create those different wreaths. And if you really are looking for tiny images, our mini wreath builder stamp set has images that are all like real tiny, like that little star right there. All right, so tonight we talked a little bit about social boundaries, and I have a final quote for you. I know it's just a little bit early, but I really don't have enough time to do a whole other card. And I'm going to take pictures of these, and I'm going to put them in our Facebook group. Let me think. There was a couple of other things that I wanted to tell you. I am trying to convince Tom, I think I might be able to convince him to possibly sing a song for you guys in my next video. So we'll see if we can get him to do that. Also, I wanted you guys to know where we are in shipping. So we are, and I can't thank you guys enough for being so supportive during this time. You've allowed our staff to stay employed, and we've been able to make our rent this month thanks to you guys being so supportive with your orders. Where we are with orders, we are still at about 14 days. Today, I think we were at like 14 days and 16 hours, something like that. It tells us exactly from the time you placed your order. But we've actually been getting a lot of orders out. We did like almost 130 orders today, Tom and I. And Rena helped us yesterday, which was really great. We asked her to come in and help, and she came in with her little mask on and helped us so much. So we really appreciate you guys, and I just wanted to know where we are, that we have not forgotten about your order. It is taking us that long to get all the orders out, but we are working as quickly as we can, and we just appreciate you all so much. Okay, so my final quote for the night. Oh, Tom will like seeing that. Yes, please sing for us. Okay, Tom, if you're listening, we've got to figure it out for Wednesday night. Really want you to come and sing a song. Maybe we'll even sing one together. Who knows? So, talking about kind of having those social boundaries, here's the quote to ponder for the next couple of days. So, here it is. Get into the habit of asking yourself, does this support the life I'm trying to create? I love that. Because if I ask myself, like when I'm getting in there and I'm trying to get in the middle of an argument, or I'm trying to, is this supporting the life I'm trying to create? And almost all the time I can say, no, that's not supporting the life I'm trying to create. So I will put that quote up on my Facebook page. If you didn't know, we have a Facebook group called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. We would love to have you. It's a private group, so just ask to join. And we've got wonderful moderators that are, I don't think any of them sleep, because they are approving people all hours of the day, and they're really fun. They are great. It's Karen Hightower, Kathy Tidwell is over there. We have Barb O'Sheim, who is helping us, and Sammy Williams from Village Paper and Ink and Gina K Design. She is part of our, she's our manager, and she is also, she does a lot of our wholesale orders, and she is offered to help moderate as well. So stop by and say hi. I love to see the beautiful cards that you create. Make sure if you make a card like I made tonight, and you just kind of add it into your comments, like this was inspired by tonight's Merry Monday video, because I would love to see what you do. All right, everybody, you have a wonderful night. I'm going to go talk to Tom about maybe Wednesday night singing a song. And we will be back on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again.